Good day, Deep in Word family. Welcome to day 108 of our Bible study review. Today we're going through chapters 4 through 6 of 2 Kings. In chapter 4, we see 4 miracles of the prophet Elisha. The first miracle is a widow of a prophet. The prophet dies and he leaves his wife in debt. And those who are coming to collect the debt are coming to take her sons to enslave them to pay off the debt. And so she cries out to Elijah and he says, "What can I do for you?" Then he asks her, he says, "What's in your house? What do you have?" And she says, "I only have this one jar of oil." So he tells her, "Go and borrow as many vessels as you can." And he goes, "And when you're done, shut the door behind you and start pouring the oil." And the oil did not stop until the vessels ran out. And so she ran back to him and he told her, "Go sell the oil and pay off the debt so you and your sons can live in peace." The second miracle that we see is that of a Shunammite woman. Her and her husband see that Elijah is coming through the town frequently. So she makes a nice little apartment within her house. So he has a place to sleep and he has somewhere to eat when he comes to pass through. And so while she's feeding him, he asks her, he goes, "You're going through all this trouble. What can I do for you?" And Elisha's servant, Gehazi, tells Elisha, he goes, she has no son. And it's evident that her husband is extremely old. So Elisha tells the woman, he goes, "This time next year, you will have a son." And she's like, "Don't play those games with me." She's like, "I have not been able to conceive. Do not play those games with me." But the word that he spoke came true. So this son was born unto this woman. And it says when he got older, he got somewhat of a headache. She laid him down on the bed, but he fell dead. So she went to go seek out Elisha. And she said, "Why are you playing with my emotions? I didn't ask you for a son. And now he's laying in the bed dead." So he goes and performs a miracle, much like Elijah. He spreads himself over the boy and he prays to Yahuwah, and the boy is revived back to life. The third miracle, we see that Elisha heals a deadly pot of stew. And the fourth miracle, Elisha feeds 100 men from a little bit of food. Yes, you see this again in the renewed covenant, the Brit Hadashah with our Messiah. Chapter 5 opens up with the captain of the Armaen army. It says that he's a mighty man of valor, but he has leprosy. And so a letter is sent to the king of Israel asking if he could be healed. And the king of Israel is offended. He's like, "Who am I? Am I God that I can heal you?" And essentially he's like, "You're not one of my own." But Elisha heard of this. Because the king was acting extremely dramatic, he tore his clothes. And so Elijah's like, "Stop being dramatic. Bring him to me so that the Arameans know that there is a true prophet in the land of Israel. There is a man who represents Yahuwah Elohim." And so this captain comes to Elisha and Elijah tells him, "Go dip into the Jordan water 7 times and you'll be clean." But this captain didn't like that method. He was like, "Can I not go into a better body of water to be clean?" But the servants of the captain told him, "Look, this is foolish. This is a mighty man of God. If this is what he told you to do to be clean of leprosy, then go do it." So the Aramaean captain concedes and he goes and dips himself in the water 7 times and he is healed. And then he is extremely grateful and he wants to give a gift to Elisha. But Elisha refuses a gift. But his servant Gehazi is right next to him. Gehazi is mad that he did not receive anything. And so later on, Gehazi goes to chase after this man that has just been healed. And he lies to him. And he tells him he needs gifts and money for others who are in need. And so the captain of the Aramaean army gives him exactly what Gehazi is asking for. Then when Gehazi returns, Elisha asks him, he goes, "Where have you been?" And Gehazi's like, "Here and there." And Elisha's like, "Was not my heart with you when you went to go ask this man for a gift for the services?" Then he tells Gehazi, he says, "Leprosy will fall on you." And so that's what happened. Chapter 6 opens up and Elisha helps the sons of the prophets find their axe head. And he does it in a miraculous way. Then we see that the king of the Arameans, he's coming to attack Israel. But Elijah sends word to the king of Israel telling him where they are camped. And he warns them not to go into certain places. The Aramaean king, he's troubled. He's like, "Why am I not gaining force like I should be?" And he's like, "There has to be a spy in my camp." But the servants told him, "No, there's just the prophet Elisha. He's the one who's sending messages to the king of Israel about where not to go." And so he sends his messengers to go retrieve Elisha. So the Aramaean army now comes up and surrounds the city where Elijah and his servant are dwelling. And his servant sees the army coming and he's terrified. And Elijah tells him, "Do not fear." He says, "There are more with us than there are with them." And Elijah prays to Yahuwah and he says, "Open up the eyes of the servant so that he may see." Yahuwah hears this prayer and he opens up the eyes of the servant and he sees that the mountain is full of chariots and it's full of fire. He sees the presence of heaven backing them up. When the army got close to Elijah prayed to Yahuwah and he said, "Strike these people with blindness." And they became blind. So Elijah leads this blind army of the Arameans right into the hands of the king of Israel. And then their eyes are opened. They're no longer blind. And the king of Israel asks Elijah, what shall I do with these men? Shall I make an end of them? And Elijah tells him, no. Feed the men and send them back on their way. And so the king concedes to the words of Elijah. Then Ben-Hadad, or Ben-Hadad, he is the king of the Arameans. He comes up after this and besieges Samaria, and he plunders it so bad that people are paying top dollar for pigeon poop and donkey heads. They're eating unclean, filthy things. It gets so bad to the point where mothers are eating their own sons. One of these mothers came to the king and complained about an agreement that she had with another mother because she gave her son up as a meal, but the other mother hid her son. So the king of Israel declares that he wants the head of Elijah on a stick because he feels that he could have eliminated this problem if Elijah told him to do away with the soldiers that were led to him blind. He's mad at Elisha. And so the king sent messengers over to Elisha. And Elisha's telling the elders, he's like, do you not know that a son of a murderer wants my head on a stick? Nothing is catching him by surprise because the prophet is truly connected to Yahuwah Elohim. This last story with Elijah is a picture of how it is to truly live a life that is led by the Spirit. Sometimes the Father will hold things until the very end to show his glory, and sometimes the Father will let you know well in advance what the enemy's plan is so that you're not shocked. Many can testify to this. Deep in Word family, that's all that I have for you today. Until tomorrow, Yah bless.